Well, thank you. Thank you for having us here. I'm here with these amazing panelists. Each and one of them have very, very interesting things to say. If you guys are a startup and looking at how finance and big companies and new tech is looking at these new ideas, these new technologies and green ideas that are coming out, and these guys will reflect a little bit on how they adopt these new technologies, and basically their insight is what we're looking for here. So to start out, Eric, I know BAC is one of the most innovative and early adopters out there, reflected with the new bio-based credit card, which is breakthrough and a first in a region, I think. And also the bags where you get your cards are compostable as well. So why don't you speak a little bit about how the bank adopt this innovation, and how do you support also in another role, how do you support these startups and this new product idea coming out there?
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Well, maybe let's start saying that we are working in social responsibility for more than 25 years. We are an organization of 70 years in the region, and sometimes in some moment we get to be the biggest financial organization in Central America with $32 billion in assets in all the region from Guatemala to Panama. At that moment we say, well, with this size, with this responsibility with the region, what is the next steps? What means to be the biggest organization in the region? And then we start a path to rethink, reimagine what we are doing with our capacities in the region. For example, we know that we provide economic opportunities, economic impact to the region with more than $150 billion in transaction. A small company that, sweep their credit cards, have their payroll, the payments. We create all this kind of prosperity in the economic side. But also we say, well, what we can do also in social and in environmental in a region that needs a lot of help. And then we start to think about reimagining our purpose, reimagine what the way that we do the things. And that moment, we say, well, we established 12 objectives in the three dimensions: economic, social, and environmental. And then we are the biggest company in credit cards in the region, in Guatemala too. And well, all the people knows about our credit cards and debit cards. And then we say, well, what can do with this? And then this spark innovation in organization at all level, thinking about our products and what we can do with our products and the solution that we offer. And that moment we start conversation and talks with the suppliers that we have. And then in this case, Thales is a big supplier of us in the region. We ask them, well, we want to do something about this. And then we say, well, we have this kind of this new product with PLA, that is a special material, biomaterial, but nobody wanted it. And we say we want it. We want to try. We want to innovate.
That's awesome.
And then in that moment we started. It's a product that right now is made in Singapore, and we get this product to here, and we start to change. Maybe it's a little expensive right now, but we also know that the economy scales make their magic, and the idea is to, be pioneer in this issue, and other banks and other issuers will start to use these kind of products. And yes, we are the first bank in Latin America, and I think in the United States too, to use this kind of material. And then we are no more plastic cards, it's no bio cards.
That's awesome. That's great to hear. It's awesome to hear that a bank has that mentality towards these products that you find contaminating rivers and beaches and stuff like that. So that's great to hear. I'll talk to you about nearshoring that card produced in Guatemala later. So, Rosa Maria, I'll jump on to you. You oversee ESG for one of the largest portfolio of beverages out there in the region. How important is it to really adopt these new technologies that are coming out there to be able to reach the targets that the company has? I know you were recently certified about zero waste to landfill, which is it's a big thing with all the plants that you guys handle. So speak a little bit of how you adopt these new technologies and what are you looking for in terms of implementing this and the results.
Thank you very much, Gabriel. These decisions are part of an holistic approach that we have in sustainability. I would like to share with the audience that we are a company that want to be part of the solutions. We know that we have important challenges locally and globally, especially related to the climate change. So it is very important for us to have an holistic approach. Our sustainability strategy is divided in 5 pillars. The first 2 are related to environmental dimension, and I refer to the reduction of the carbon footprint, efficient use of water, participation in water funds, and also the circular economy that is very important. Since 2013, we have been a participant of the UN Global Compact, and since the year 2020, we are a company committed to the science-based. With a micro. Hello, yes. I was sharing with you that we are also a company committed with SBTI because we want to do the efforts based on science, which is very important. We participate in these international global initiatives because we want to have a benchmark and we want to challenge ourselves and having a greater ambitions, setting our sustainability goals. And going to this specific circular economy, the first thing is the reduction. We have been working in the goal to reducing the virgin PET, the use of virgin PET in 26%, and we are increasing the use of returnable bottles in 20%, this to the year 2025. We are also investing in companies that recover in different initiatives because we have, for example, in Jamaica, we launched a refund scheme for PET bottles. And we believe that it's important to do a lot of information and awareness. But locally, we were here with different initiatives. For example, Haciendo Eco, which is a social movement that is increasing the awareness because we share a responsibility, not only companies but society, in implementing a recycling culture. So we are investing in these initiatives, but also we are investing in the produce recycling resin. But most important of all is innovation, because we need to have packaging that will reduce the use of plastic. So bio-based packaging is very important for us. So this is an holistic approach for the company.
That's great. I imagine, being a broad thing to tackle. You have your plate is full. So, and this is where Eric comes in. He brings in a concept with plastics that is breakthrough. He's connecting technology with recollection of materials, and it ties up very nicely with what Rosa Maria was saying. They have these very aggressive targets in terms of collection, but how do you really certify that that's actually what you're getting and recovering? And what did you speak a little bit about plastics and explain to us in sticks and apples, what's it all about?
My pleasure. Can everyone hear me? So thank you very much. Better? Thank you, Gabriel. So first of all, it's a pleasure to be here. It's my first time to Guatemala, and I'm so far loving the experience. So it's nice to see everyone. I think I would start by saying, for me, first of all, I was a 23-year career banker. And when I left banking, it was in part to pursue more of a climate-focused investment strategy. And part of it was I just felt that you couldn't find enough of the right type of opportunities to help scale, roadmap and scale inside of banks. Unfortunately, the opportunities are too small, and it's just, I think since then banks have done a much better job looking at younger, earlier stage companies. But for me, it started off with an investment approach to any company I was going to look at. And when I found plastics and invested in it, it was also to take a position, because I come from a position of governance inside of banking. And the most important thing that I learned when I was evaluating supply chains, specifically plastic supply chains, is that several things you need to have. One, collaboration. I saw too many companies that were basically looking to put their own flag in the ground wherever they go, and as opposed to looking at ways to integrate themselves with pre-existing businesses that are already operating and trying to find ways to help boost them. The issue and the challenge that I think we all know that we face with plastic is that it shows up on the order of north of 300 million tons a year in the environment. And I don't have to go into the challenges of that pollution, but the problem that existed is it's very fragmented. And how do you find a way to ring fence this all in a way that's certifiable and give people some level of comfort that what you're doing is actually happening? So the concept behind plastics, which I loved, and it's all based on smart ledgerizing every step of a supply chain, so that you can see, anyone can see that a piece of plastic went from a waste picker to a collection center to being baled and delivered ultimately to recycling. We would not back any project that isn't at a minimum going to recycling. There are other technologies that are coming online which we would obviously support, but there is no certification agent today that's doing the work sufficiently well. So it's, in a sense, it's creating a new standard. And that was my background in the bank, coming out of a hedge fund industry, where that's what I did. I built standards post-financial crisis, so for me this was very obvious. But the challenge that I think most people faced is transparency and ability to track it. The company that I'm part of now has basically created a process by which you get full traceability and dealing with the problem from the standpoint of going beyond everyone's aware of the problem, but no one's willing to pay for it. So it's a massive collaboration ecosystem. We create a credit that's based on the plastic that's been collected and that has already found its way proven to have gone to a recycler, upon which a credit's certified and put on the marketplace for people to buy. Who and how that's bought, and I could get into it on another panel later talking about it, but the bottom line is you are creating something that's already been authenticated, not something that will happen 5 years in the future. Then you might ask what happens with the proceeds when you're purchasing this credit. Well, those proceeds have to go back into the same ecosystem for future work. So we have to roadmap with a waste recovery company in a certain location the ability to see where that money is going to go. Could be buying a new truck, could be adding resources to the team, could be opening up a new location, could be adding healthcare. So there's a social element that comes into play here, and basically building this into a virtuous circle. Sounds quite simple, but it's never been done before, in part because too many people were focused on either doing it all themselves, not finding the right partners, sometimes a people game, but then having the ability to smart ledgerize this, which is why this was built from the very get-go on blockchain technology.
That's super interesting. I think we need something like that to complement the goals that companies here and financial institutions have. I think we all touched on a point, and we have a little bit over 5 minutes left, but we touched on a point, cost. Every one of you mentioned cost, and adopting these new technologies takes, most of the times, extra cost. How flexible is the finance institutions in terms of adopting some of this or supporting some of these initiatives? And same question, for the three of you, what's your perspective? I know Eric just made very clear that he pulled in a lot of people that are key players and stakeholders during the chain, but how important is it, and what's the top limitation to it for all the startups here listening?
Well, maybe three messages or three things. First of all, in Guatemala, we create the Sustainability Finance Council. It's an initiative led by Centrarse, that's an organization looking for impact the Guatemala. support by the IDB. The IDB have put a lot of efforts in this initiative, and with the collaboration of all the banks, or the important banks in Guatemala, and industries that is collaborating with this Sustainability Finance Council. And the thing is that this council, the goal is to get to Guatemala the best practices, the best ideas. Right now, we are working with the Superintendencia de Bancos to create a taxonomy of green business. And with this taxonomy, you can get the business and connect the business that are green with the finance. Also, in our case, for example, FMO give us the biggest single credit to an institution, $200 million to back Guatemala to help to build a sustainability portfolio. We are in the way to do it. And the good news is there are a lot of companies in Guatemala that are worried about the environmental, are investing in making investment in these issues, and we are supporting. And then I think that many people think that finance or green finance is about preferred conditions, special rates and everything. I listen a lot about that. But my point of view, my lecture about this, is that in the future, if your project is not worried, is not have concern or thinking about these issues, there are no finance. And right now, some of the banks, included BAC, of course, we need to comply with a lot of things. And one of the things is that we help in these companies to, how to achieve these standards that are mentioned here.
Great, thanks. Same question to you about cost.
Thank you. First of all, I have to say that we have the zero waste to landfill certification by Carbon Trust, but it's for operational waste. So it is very important for us to have a traceability and a certification to the efforts that we are doing to recover the post-consumption bottles. Just to mention one example, we have here in Guatemala a JV, a joint venture with INVEMA, which is one of the largest recycling companies in Central America. We are already buying the bottles here in Guatemala to recycle the bottles. We also have recycling centers with PriceMart. We truly believe in partnerships, so it is very important for us to have the traceability. I think that after this photo, we are going to have a very serious conversation with you. So talking about the financial issue, we launched last year our first SLB, the first sustainability-linked bond for the company. We launched it before other bonds, but this was the first SLB, was the largest in Latin America for last year. We are very proud of it, but we believe that sustainability is not going to be as it is right now, like competitive advantage is going to be the rule. It's something that we must have in the companies. So the commitment is very important, and we need to understand the processes, especially that entrepreneurs have, because we believe that we can work together with financial institutions, but also the company participations in promoting the innovation. So this is very important.
Great, thank you. Eric?
So I'm going to take a different perspective to the question. Instead of talking about cost, I'm going to talk about revenue. And the reason why I want to talk about revenue is because the business that we built and the partnerships that we bring or work with are actually able to make money by doing good, not having to spend. And how does that? Seems counterintuitive, but it actually works brilliantly. The types of relationship we have. So our first big partner was FC Barcelona. And as a big soccer club or football club with 400 million eyeballs worldwide, what they did is they integrated a program with us to recover plastic in certain parts of the world that were pre-agreed as part of our relationship and partnership. And they brought their entire fan base online. And in bringing their entire fan base online, they created incentives for them. Whether it was, creating a discount factor for buying merchandise or tickets to a game or other loyalty and reward programs in lieu of their fan base getting involved alongside them. Now for the team, there's ways to make money. They are creating for example, it's coming online, a ticketing charge when anyone visits their museum. In Barcelona, if anyone's been, you know what I'm talking about. That gets millions of people in every day.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, millions of people every year. Adding $1 to a ticket and incentivizing the fan base once you get there, that's millions of dollars. Our model is $1 per kilo without any speculation. So millions of kilo of plastic recovered on the back of something that sounds so simple that at the end of the day, Barcelona didn't have to pay for. It works.
And that's a key takeaway, I guess. And we're running out of time, but that's a great takeaway, from this conversation. Look for sustainability to be a good business. It doesn't have to be cost drained. You can find a way, and you can find the right stakeholders, the right partners, and there's a new way of doing business, and this is it. So thank you for listening. I hope you got a good listening to our speakers and our panelists. Great to have you here, guys.
Thank you very much.
Right.